So last week was Batman meets Family Guy, so this week we, of course, transition into Batman meets Scooby-Doo, and not in the fun way. It's Victorian-era Gotham, and Jack the Ripper is on the rise. He attacks a prostitute who is, of course, Poison Ivy and kills her, while Batman is a vigilante who rescues 3 orphan boys who are, of course, Dickie, Jason, and Timmy. And the next day, the mayor is showing prominent members of the community to the new fair, featuring a really strong lamp and a Ferris wheel. Selina Kyle bemoans the mayor's unwillingness to help the downtrodden, claiming that if the Ripper was murdering wealthy women, that he would have been caught already. Through a series of circumstances, Selina is attacked by the Ripper, but saved by Batman. Bruce Wayne also catches her eye, much to the chagrin of his friend Harvey Dent. During a night out with her, Bruce realizes the Ripper's next victim is the nun that took him in after his parents' murder, but he's too late. At the funeral, both a crazy woman and Hugo Strange, but I repeat myself, come up to Bruce and claim to know he's Batman. Strange is murdered by the Ripper before Batman can arrive, which leads to an extended chase and fight on a blimp, and then a harrowing escape from the police that was only made successful by Selina's timely arrival. The next day, Bruce is arrested for being the Ripper because, of course, and he quickly stages a breakout upon hearing that Selina plans on revealing his secret identity to Commissioner Gordon, as the Batman has an alibi during the Ripper murders while Bruce Wayne doesn't. Unfortunately, both come to the same conclusion a bit too late. Gordon is the Ripper, having been an army surgeon during the Civil War and driven insane because of course. Selina is drugged, but somehow stays conscious long enough to give Batman a signal to her whereabouts, big lamp, and together the two defeat Gordon on the Ferris wheel, who chooses to immolate himself rather than be taken in. Alfred, along with the orphan boys, rescue the two from the fire, and they ride off into the night. Roll credits. So, I don't like mysteries. I'm just gonna say that outright so we can get it out of the way. Only the best of mysteries can actually interest me on a repeat viewing, especially since most of them do the Scooby-Doo approach of the obvious red herring villain. With other genres, I find much more to like from a much broader range of their work compared to the mystery genre, so there. That said, Gotham by Gaslight could have been far worse than what it is. Now, my understanding is that this is only a loose adaptation of the comic, but honestly it feels so generically Elseworlds that I couldn't really tell the difference, so I don't know whether that's a compliment or not, but that was my impression. See, the biggest problem with the Elseworlds brand is that the writers are always so keen on exploring every single alternate version of as many characters as possible, whether they naturally incorporate into the story or not. I could easily point to even something I like Flashpoint Paradox, and how useless characters like Deathstroke, Steve Trevor, Superman, and Harley Quinn were, and how much I disliked their inclusions because they didn't belong in the story that movie was trying to tell. For much the same reason, I didn't care for half of the cast of this movie. It doesn't give us new characters that fit that time period. No, that would be too clever. Instead, they just take the iconography of existing characters and plop them into the Victorian setting. Oh, Hugo Strange is a crackpot psychologist idiot? Well, here he's into lobotomies. Oh, Bullock is kind of a dick? Well, here he's a misogynist. Ooh, Selina Kyle is a strong female character that never ever needs to be saved. Well, here she's a modern feminist masquerading as a suffragist. The issue with all of these incarnations of these characters is twofold. First, they could have easily been turned into new original characters instead of once again rehashing old ones just for the iconography. Second, they come from a purely contemporary viewpoint. The creators were clearly not interested in incorporating any kind of realism into their setting. They just want to get to the good stuff, Batman versus Jack the Ripper, without actually having to think about the thing that they were making, or, only giving the bare minimum of thoughts. Yes, people were misogynistic back then. That's a known fact. But instead of rolling with it and crafting a story around the constraints of, history, they instead implant a modern feminist into the story, as if she wouldn't have been f***ed 6 ways from Sunday to put her in her place the first time she passed a bar full of horny perverts. They give Batman a grappling hook, even though we don't even have those now, at least not in the capacity that Batman uses it. They give him smoke bombs, because of course they do. It just feels off, right? It's almost like this was a poorly thought out mess of an idea that was made purely to indulge in some weird wish fulfillment of Batman vs. Jack the Ripper or something. Imagine that. The creators did not care about the minutia. They just wanted to see the big bat guy punch the Jackie guy. But all that said, it's not all that bad. For one, the set and costume design feel fairly authentic to the times, and despite my issues with her weird contemporary politics, Selina Kyle is a good character in this movie. She's resourceful and doesn't take no for an answer. She willingly puts herself into the Ripper's crosshairs to take him out where the police failed, and she gives the Ripper a chase even after she's been drugged to hell and back in the finale. In fact, most of the cast, well, okay, like Selina is good and Bruce is okay. Everyone else is kind of bland. The mayor gets one scene, Harvey gets one scene, and then Bruce treating him like a mentally damaged puppy before he turns into the obvious red herring. Gordon gets nothing. He's like, stay out of my house, and I want him alive, and then they contrive make-believe a tragic backstory for him in the last 10 minutes.
Where is he?
Doing what he needs to do. His holy work. Cleaning the scum from Gotham. He needs to be severe. But not with us. No. No, he's gentle as a lamb with us. He simply burns the sin out of us. We need him to.
Good Lord.
It's the women's sins that are the worst. Because they're hidden inside. James brings them out into the light.
Where is he?
While that scene of Batman discovering the real Gordon is really good, the reveal itself is just awful. There was no evidence to this kind of behavior before, and any arguments I've heard about it from my brother, who liked the movie and the reveal, stretched things so far that I couldn't buy it. As well, the animation and direction are surprisingly good in places. Namely, there's a silhouette shot that's really cool, and if nothing else, the 3 fights against the Ripper occur in very interesting locations compared to the usual fare for this catalog. The butcher shop is kind of heavy-handed, and that trapdoor came out of nowhere, but sure, fine, it's cool. The blimp and the chase through Arkham were great, and that was probably the best action scene of the movie. And while the Ferris wheel fight was good too, it came off as a bit too contrived, with a bit too much superpowering for my tastes. Like Batman breaking his back by falling 50 feet and stuff like that. Besides, it has to deal with the shitty reveal, which docks it some points. As well, it has the consistency flaw of Gordon as the Ripper monologuing to Selina as he chases her, while he's remained a silent killer up until this point, with no reason for the change, other than that we can now see his face, so he has to talk, I guess. And finally, the ending was incredibly abrupt. To lay it out, Bruce is still convicted of murder, with now an added charge of escaping prison. They have no body of the Ripper, and Harvey Dent, who betrayed Bruce as the obvious red herring to put him in jail, is left undealt with. The fair is destroyed in the final battle, which is untold amounts of property damage, most of which is going to come out of Bruce's pockets, as well as the situation of the power vacuum in the police force now that Gordon is dead. But they all just ride into the sunset. Because of course. A lot of my feelings toward Batman Gotham by Gaslight can be summed up like that. Oh, of course. It's an Elseworld story, so it has to be like that. It has to show as many Batman characters as it can in this new setting. It has to have all of the Batman conventions like the smoke bombs and the grappling hook and the disappearing in a setting that they don't belong in. Because that's the point. If you enjoy that kind of thing, then you can go ahead and have it. For me, I'll take my shitty New 52 movies back, thanks.